Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am helping celebrate that Simon Says Stamp is now carrying T4TD products. They are some of my favorite images and they've only been available overseas until recently. And so we're going to celebrate with a hop today. There are gifts to be given away, so make sure you check the description box below while we take a look at these cute stamp sets. This is Snappy Before Coffee. I love the cute little critters in this set, and this is Paper Airplane Pals. I think they're both darling sets. You know I love my critters. And then we have our Slimline Hillside scene dies. I'm going to use that die to create two different scene cards today and use both of these stamp sets. So here I've stamped out the images I want for the Paper Airplane Pals. I actually am going to do two paper airplanes, and I'm just going to give them a little bit of color with that BG10 marker. Then I'm using some red markers to color out the scarves on both of the critters, the bunny and the panda, and I love their scarves blowing back in the wind. Next, I'm using N4 to color the goggles. I'll bring back that BG10 for filling in like the part where the eyes go, and then I'll use that same marker on the clouds to give it a little color. I used N2, N1, and N0 for my bunny just to make him like a really light gray, almost white color. And then for the panda, all I needed to do was add a little bit of shadowing around the white parts. So there you can see all the images colored in, and I've used a white gel pen to add some accents as well. Next, I'm using the coordinating dies to die cut out all of these things, and the Paper Airplanes die cuts a slit in it. So you can take those little critters and tuck them right into the plane without having to alter it at all. I love that. So cute. All right, we're going to create a sky for these airplanes to be flying in now. I have some salvaged patina Distress Oxide ink that I'm burnishing onto a piece of 8.5 by 3, no, it's 8 1/4 by 3 1/4 inch piece of cardstock. Next, I'm going to splatter that with some water, let that set for just a minute, and then I'll pick up the excess moisture with a paper towel. Now, with this ink particularly, it's hard to see the distress unless you really look up close, but it's there and it adds something a little magical. So I have some perfect pearls now that I'm going to splatter on, mixing it with a little bit of water, and then I didn't want too much, just a little bit to add some interest to the sky. I'm also going to add some white on there as well, and I just mixed that right with the perfect pearls that were left, this white acrylic paint. I just put a little bit of splatter on there, and I think it really adds interest to the sky. For the grass on this card, I am using cracked pistachio. I love the pistachio and the salvage patina together. I'm going to do the same thing, spritz it with water to get that, you know, those oxidized little splatter marks. I love them so much. You can use a heat tool to speed up the drying process. Now to splatter this one, I'm using the Distress Oxide spray in Rustic Wilderness, so a darker color of splatter on the green for grass I just love. I wasn't needing to water this down at all because it's already pretty liquidy, but it's going to give me that vibrant dark green color that I might not get if I added water to it. So now I'm taking the grass border from this Slimline Hillside set and cutting that out. Now my paper is longer than my die, and it's also going to be longer than my panel, so I just cut off the ends like that. All right, so there's the grassy border. Looks really good. Now for the hills, I'm using some Hickory Smoke ink, and I'm doing the same exact thing, rubbing that onto the paper. Now I don't need them all to go all the way to the edge because I'm going to die cut them and they're going to be tucked up under each other. I'm going to splatter that one as well. I love the splatter on this one. And then I heat set that, and then I'm going to use some Distress ink in Black Soot to create the splatter. I feel like this is just a little bit more subtle than if I were to use the Distress Oxide. So I went for regular Distress ink there. And then I can cut this with that hill shape there, the more curvy of the two. And I have a nice hill for my background and for my paper airplanes to fly over. I did end up keeping the piece that I cut away, and I'm going to layer that behind this one. And then I have more of a 3D look. I just glued them together, and now I'm attaching them to my card, gluing them right down. And then for the grass layer, I actually used foam squares, so it's going to be popped up a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and set to building the scene. So I added my clouds and my two largest paper airplanes using foam squares. And then for the tiny one, I'm just going to glue that down so it's got a little depth perception there. Cute. Now it's time to stamp on some sentiments. So in the sky, I stamped "The Sky's the Limit" with some VersaFine Onyx black ink. I love how crisp that looks. Next, I'm going to attach this to my card base, which is 8.5 by 7, scored at 3.5. And then I'm going to glue on some cute little red hearts. These are the Candy Apple Hearts mix from Trinity Stamps. So I have them laid out where I want, and then I can use my pickup tool to grab them, add a dot of glue, and then I can straighten them with the other end of the pickup tool to get them where I want. And I have to say, this is the first tool that I found that works really good for me. I'll have it linked for you below. Next, I'm using a black gel pen to add little dots to the panda's eyes. I thought it just helped him kind of come to life. Now on the grassy area, I'm going to use my Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide ink and stamp a second sentiment. It says, "Let your dreams take flight." But there was a little problem because there, where the E was on take, there was no foam square. So I wasn't able to get the E. So I rolled up a piece of scrap cardstock, tucked it behind the grass, and then I was able to stamp it so you could actually see the E, and whew, saved the day. But it's always good to stamp your sentiments before you put your card together if you have everything planned out. But sometimes the ideas just come to you later, right? So I'm taking this other Time for Tea stamp, stamping out this cute little dog. I just felt like I needed something extra there. And so he's, munching on his donut and watching them fly overhead. Now, if you like that stamp set, I actually have a video with it. I'm going to link it for you in the description box below, my 2 other Time for Tea videos. All right, so now we're moving on to card number 2. This is the Snappy Before Coffee stamp set. It has this cute little coffee cart. It has the hippo and these little crocodiles or alligators. And I'm going to color these with the same color scheme that I used on the first card, but also incorporate some green in those crocodiles. I love this color combination. I thought it was just kind of fun and whimsical, and it really makes me happy to make 2 cards that coordinate together. And it's easy because I already have out all the supplies that I used for the first card. So then I just start reaching for those as I'm creating the second card. And that's really helpful when you're creating multiple cards or maybe a set of cards. All right, here is that cute little crocodile. I am using G02 for my lightest color and G03 for my darkest, which I knocked the lid over so you can't see. But I'm going to just add that darker color in a couple times to really bring out those shadow areas, and then blend it out softly. Oh, I think I did bring in the G05 because I wanted it a little bit darker. And then I'll blend it out with my G02 one more time. And then we just need to color in his little belly and his tongue. So I have a red marker for that, just one because it's a really tiny area, and G12 for his tummy. Then I'm using G03 for the scales there on his back, and then white gel pen to finish it off. The white gel pen just brings life to all the things. I love adding the little lines and dots to add the highlights. I love that coffee pot with the smile. Isn't it cute? And the hippo with a bow tie. It's just a really darling set. All right, I have now die cut out all the things with the coordinating dies, and they look so cute. It makes me so happy when I see my images all die cut out. They just are so darling. All right, I did the same technique for my grass as on the first card. This time I'm going to cut out 2 panels of grass. One's going to go behind my road and one will go in front of my road. But I just used 1 piece of paper. I'm going to cut off the bottom of that other one, but you might not need to if it's going to be covered up, but I just cut it off to be safe. All right, I have some Hickory Smoke Distress Oxide I watered down, and I'm splattering that onto my road because it was just too black. So I wanted it to look more like asphalt. So I thought I needed a little bit of texture. So I went ahead and splattered it. I had a lot of fun doing it, and it looks really cool, I think. So now I have the same Salvage Patina ink blended panel that I did on the first card. Like this, I did the same technique, and I'm using a water brush pen to just draw on some clouds. They look pretty subtle right here. I'll hold it up to the camera so you can see them a little bit more. So those clouds are going to look farther away. Then I took some white acrylic paint, watered it down. I'm using my same water brush, and I'm going to paint on some more clouds, and these are going to be a little bit more vibrant. They're going to show up a little bit more, but it is watered down. It's like a whitewash, right? And those are going to show up and be more like in the foreground. So I just love to have my backgrounds have that element of dimension to them, which is why I put different layers of splatter and these multiple colors in the clouds. So here's my first layer of grass, and once I have that done, I can add my road. Now, gluing this down, you're going to see that the little spaces in the road are green. So I die cut the road again from white, so I'd have those pieces I could paper piece in place, and then my dashes on the road are white, and it looks much better that way. You could also glue a piece to the back of the road if you didn't want to do paper piecing, whatever makes you happy. Next, I'm adding my second layer of grass. Will be right in front. I wanted to give this a little bit more of a like country road feel instead of a look of like a highway or something. So now I'm just adding on all my pieces. They're so very cute. And I glued those down, and next I'm going to stamp my sentiment after the fact again with my VersaFine Onyx black ink, and that's going to go right in the sky again. It's so cute. It says, "Have a beautiful day," like brew. It's really cute. All right, so that finishes up the sentiment, and I can add in some of those hearts again in and around my little crocodiles. It's like they haven't seen each other in a long time, and they decided to meet up for coffee, and they're just running to their friends, and that's totally something me and my friends would do. So I thought it was a cute little scene there. Next, I wanted the grass to stand out a little bit more. I could have, ink blended on the edge of the grass with some of that rustic wilderness, but I didn't really feel like I needed it until the card was all put together. So I just brought in my G03 marker to do that, and then I added a little bit more texture to the grass in the foreground to give it a little bit more dimension as well. So there we have it. Now it's time to glue this on to my 8.5 by 3.5 card base, and there's the card. I could not be more happy that the Time for Tea products are now more easily accessible for people in the States and in North America because they are at Simon Says Stamp. So be sure to click over to Simon Says Stamp and check out the Time for Tea products. And remember, this is a hop. It's a blog hop, so I have a link to my blog for you below. You can click over and hop along with everybody on the hop. There will be other videos in the hop as well, and they will be on those blog posts. And then leave your comments so you could be entered to win a shopping spree for the Time for Tea products from Simon Says Stamp. If you enjoyed this video, let me know with a thumbs up, and I will chat with you in the comments below. Happy stamping! Bye!